What up brothers, it's Clip King returning for another new review, or two new reviews should I say. I'm going to use the same intro for both these figures, but it's going to be two separate reviews. So if you want to watch the fur jacket version, make sure you choose that. If you want to watch the red jacket version, make sure you use that. Either way, I'm reviewing the Blitzway Fight Club Tyler Durden. But before I start getting some scores, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Lee Wood, the owner of The Good, The Bad and The Robots, the online store in the UK, for kindly selling me these figures and shipping them straight to me as soon as he got in stock. I was buzzing to receive them. I probably waited about 3 weeks longer than buying them from Hong Kong, but I've probably paid a lot less, so I'm buzzing about that. It's nice to get a good value figure in hand, or a set, whatever you want to view it as, for a reasonable cost. I will also say, at the time when I started filming this review, he still had, I think he said 5 sets still in stock, so if you do want this set, it is a really reasonable price. Like I said in the unboxing, under £200 each for the figures. Really good value. The stuff you get with them is amazing. So a massive shout out to him on that. Also, I will say, if you do want to check his site out, even if it's not to buy these figures, he does have all the latest pre-orders up, and he does still have some items in stock that you can pick up instantly. So a massive shout out to Lee. Thanks for sending me, buddy. But yeah, let's crack on and start talking about the figures. So I'll start off by saying, when these figures were released, they sort of fell victim to the awesome prototype shots that we saw. Now, expectations in this community is a funny thing. I've been around it a long time. There's a lot of new collectors and a lot of old school collectors who do the same thing constantly, and it pisses me off. They see a prototype shot and expect it to be identical. It's obviously not going to be, because these prototype shots, like I've said before, are done by professional photographers under professional lighting and then probably Photoshop. So to expect exactly what you see, it's hard. It's going to be hard for any company. So what happens is, because they're not what the prototype show, people go proper knee-jerk reaction and start slating these figures. There were some early shots of the red jacket version which looked shocking, but I could see straight away it was mainly down to the phone camera lighting that were blasting in his face, and not the fact that it were a poor figure. And I'm thinking, are people not realising this, or some are, some aren't? What's happening here? I thought, I'm still going to see it in hand. The prototypes did look awesome. I weren't expecting the prototypes to turn up, but I also know it wouldn't be shit. Now, Sideshow Collectibles are the company most guilty for that. The figures that they've shown now, and then the release figure is nothing like the prototype. That is just downright theft to me. I knew Blitzway wouldn't do that, simply because I've already seen their Scarface, I've seen the Carlitos Way, and the work they've done up to now were always awesome. So we're expecting these to be good. Like the Ghostbusters that they're showing now, they're probably not going to be as crisp looking as the prototype shots are, but they're still going to be very good figures. So that is what I would say. Don't set your expectations too high, and then when it don't match, you don't fall so hard. So I'm going to also, before I cut and go into the separate review, say lighting. It makes a massive difference on a figure. If I watch my own videos back, which is very rare, the one thing that I will say a strength about them is the honesty would be the first one, and secondly, the image that you see is as close to what you're going to see when you get it into your collection. And by that I mean, I'm not a professional photographer. I don't use fucking 50 million watt lights over each shoulder that's blasting in its face to give that crisp clinical white look. I don't do that, and I don't do it for a reason. It's not that I can't afford that setup. It's just a case that when you guys get a figure, you pretty much want to know when you receive it and you get in your collection, it's going to look how it looks in my collection. It's not going to have, like I say, these looking razor sharp lights in behind it that's blasting out all the time, because when you put your collection or your figures into your display, you don't have that lighting bouncing off it constantly. It's lit like mine is. A couple of lights above, some strip lights from IKEA, some spotlights which are not switched on now, and then it's in a room that's lit pretty similar to this one is, I would think. So that is why my lighting is pretty natural. So like I said, some of them overuse lighting so it saturates the image out and you're not seeing a true representation. Other people just blast it in the face with an iPhone and said that's what it looks like. It don't look like that either. It looks pretty much as it looks in this video. Turn it to HD and enjoy it. Right, now I'm going to separate the review here. So now I'm going to move on to each review. So the one you came to will now continue, and we'll talk about the packaging. Before we move on to that, like I said we was going to do, I just want to point out a little bit of information about the upcoming reviews. You will see in certain poses that each figure will be displayed with things that don't necessarily come with that. I obviously received the special edition set with the robe and everything. So, for example, the fur coat doesn't have the Oliver People glasses or the pistol. The red jacket version doesn't come with the lighter. So sometimes you might see an hand from the other set, you might see the glasses from the other set, or some of the weapons from the other set. What I will say is they will be in each review, but when I do get to the accessory section, I will only be reviewing the items that come with each individual figure, but I'll make that clear obviously when I get to that. Now we'll continue. So if like me you chose the special edition set, it does come as all one massive box. It does house both figures in there, and then a separate box that has the dressing gown in it that's on a wire coat hanger. Like I say, it is wrapped in this black wrap round. As you see, the most striking thing is the chrome Fight Club wording. Top left corner Blitzway, top right corner is the 20th Century Fox logo, just to show you the studio that made the film. And as you can see, it is massive, nearly fills all the shelf, not much space above. Really deep because it does have the two figures inside, but no artwork to speak of. With a top down view, as you can see, it has the gloss Fight wrote on one figure. That is the box that holds the gown, and then Club in eye gloss on the top of the other figure. So that is a nice touch. But to look at the individual packaging, and this is where the stunning eye-catching artwork is. As you can see, the bright neon pink Fight Club, and above that again the 20th Century Fox, and then on the left the Blitzway. But then looking down, we sort of get this artistic impression of Tyler Durden in his red jacket with the glasses on, the fag in his mouth, looking pretty cool. It's really nice technique. The further you get away from it, the more detailed it looks, if that makes sense. But when you get really close, it's just a collection of lines. So it doesn't really make sense to you the closer you are, but like I said, when you pull away from it, it does give it sort of all blends into one and gives a really good image. I do like the artwork on both boxes. They are bigger than a standard size box. Only one downside on this particular figure, and it will only be mine, so don't worry about it. If you move the lid, you look inside, it has the sort of the accessories down the right hand side, and then the full width of the box. The figure was just in the front left section in this foam housing. Now the reason I'm showing you this, because I wouldn't normally on the inside of a box, there's normally a layer of foam over the top of that, and I know that because on the fur jacket version it had a layer of foam. Now this one shipped without that layer of foam, and you think, why are you telling us that? It's fucking not interesting at all. The reason I'm telling you is, firstly, if you look down here, you can see while in shipping, the toe of his boots have been rubbing on there, because you can see the paint impression. And also, the detriment, and the reason I'm telling you is because all the way through shipping, there's a slight dimple just there, and you probably can't see it, where his nose has been pressed against in underside of box all the way through shipping. And because of that, he's got the tiniest little bit of paint rub on the end of his nose on my actual figure. So that is why I'm showing you that. Yours might ship the same, but I'm guessing it won't. Probably just a one-off thing. And like I said, the mark on the end of the nose is so small, I'm not even going to bother complaining about it, send it back, because if you're more than an inch away from figure, you don't even notice it. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. A little bit of a problem with the box, but like I said, if I were to score the artwork on the box, I would give it a 4 out of a possible 5. It's a large size box, it looks very collectible. The fact it all came together is really nice. The artwork's eye-catching, and like I said, the housing of the accessories, if they would have put the foam layer on top of mine, would have been really good. So for that reason, it gets a 4 out of a possible 5. And just as a little side note, regardless which version you buy, like I say, it does have the, or if you buy the set, should I say, that is the box that the gown comes in. You could use it as a really nice backdrop. It is the Fight Club soap with the bubbles on it in the soap dish. It looks really nice, but just a flat black box, So that just holds the gown on the wire coat hanger. Right, rolling on to the facial likeness, and this is the talking point of this particular figure, I do believe. Simply because, like I said earlier, somebody took an early release picture, looked like it was took on a phone camera, bouncing the light off its face. People jumped onto all the forums imaginable. They started cancelling pre-orders, started slagging the figure off, saying it looked toyish and this and that, and why didn't we get the promotion, head sculpt, and so on and so forth. Now, like I said, when I saw that, I thought, oh, fucking hell, here we go again. Something to talk about for everybody. And then there were part of me thinking, it ain't the production paintwork. The sculpt still looks pretty identical, although not as HD as the promo shots looked. But I thought, in hand, I'm betting it's pretty good, because both Al Pacinos that we've seen so far from Blitzway have been really good. The artist who did it has got a pretty flawless track record, so I'm thinking it can't be bad. I know it can't be bad, but the fuss that's surrounding it, I'm thinking, did people not want it in the first place, or is it people not seeing it in hand? I don't know. But like I said, I always try to say, wait until you see the figure in hand. If you don't like it, sell it. If it's a case you can't afford to see it first, then don't bother with it if you're not going to be sure on it. But I've got to say, in hand, and even when I watch back my own unboxing video, the video footage on the unboxing does not look good, simply because I do it on my iPhone 6 Plus, and like I said, the lighting's not the best downstairs, so I have to have the LED light on, and it just kills the paintwork on the figure. Now, I'm filming with my camcorder inside the cabinet, and I've got to say, it is a stunning likeness. As you see at the moment, he's wearing the Oliver People shades, he's got his cigarette in his mouth. I'm going to remove those in a minute, and we'll talk about the sculpt and the paintwork. So now we see him with a clean head sculpt. Like I said, I've probably not been no surprise, and a couple of pictures I put on Facebook would let you guys know that I already like the figure. If I don't care about a figure or it bores me a little bit, I don't spend any time with it, and I don't look forward to spending any time with it. The honest truth with this is I couldn't wait to review it, but I've been busy all weekend, and this has been the only opportunity that I can get into this bedroom to get this video done. Now, I will say the sculpt is pretty much the sculpt that we saw. I'm going to try and use the zoom, I think. The sculpt is the sculpt we saw on the promo, but like I say, because it is done professionally, and I would say they hand paint the promo, and then like I said, they'll use Photoshop, professional artists, professional photographers, professional lighting, and it just makes it look better than can ever be replicated. But is this as good as any other figure in this collection at the moment? I would say yes. It's instantly recognizable. The sculpt is sharp and the detail is stunning. The paintwork in hand is really, really good, although I will concede and say it's not as good as the production. But before this figure actually came, I was listening to some of the guys and I'm thinking, well, I see that some people are painting out there, doing repaints on this. I thought, I'll ask one of the artists. I know they know who I am because I've spoke to them before. I'll ask them, see if I can get like a 2-for-1 deal, or if they'll do it me so I can promote the work or whatever. The leading artist I spoke to, I said, what is the repaint price on the Brad Pitt head sculpts from the Blitzway Fight Club? He told me it's $200 plus shipping, and to that I thought, fucking not happening. Now, what are some of the things they've said about this figure? Some people have said the hair is too dark. Now, the root section and the side section of the hair is pretty dark, but there is also highlighted section on the top of the hair which brings out the blondness. Now, again, you're going to get a mixture of where the light's hitting it and the light from above. But I will say, in hand again, the eyelid section do look pretty realistic to me. It's sort of, do a technique, I forgot what it was called now. Is it frosting or something like that with hair? It's not quite streaks, but the sort of the length section of the hair is slightly dyed. I think that's been done to Brad Pitt in the film, and it looks like it's been done on here, so that's good enough for me. Some people said it's got blue eyes but the figure hasn't. Now, I defy anybody who can tell me what colour the eyes on this figure are from that distance, and that is about, what, That's about 15 centimetres away. From where you actually look at your collection would be from about there. If you can tell me that that figure has blue eyes or dark eyes there, then I would say your eyes are better than mine, because I don't see him. Let's even see if the camera picks it up. It'll be a good zoom. I don't know. You can't tell the colour of the eyes, I wouldn't say. Just messing about with the camera here, just to make a point. But yeah, so the eyes probably are the wrong colour, but is it notable? Not enough to complain about it. Would I ever send this head sculpt off for somebody to repaint it? Not for $200. In fact, I wouldn't even pay anybody to repaint it. That's the honest truth for it, because I think it's good enough as it is. I think it's as good as everything else that you'll have in your collection. And I will say it's from any angle. So if we look at the profile, that's Brad Pitt. In fact, that's not quite profile. Profile, that's Brad Pitt. The hair looks stunning. 3/4. Straight on. 3/4 that way. And profile that side. Everywhere you look at that figure from, to me, is Brad Pitt. It's well painted, it's well sculpted, and I don't think it warrants spending any money on having it repainted. So for that reason, just to point out as well, like I said, the packaging on mine, the packaging on mine did a tiny bit of paint rub, as you can see, right on the tip of the nose. Again, I'm now about an inch away with slight zoom on. Can you see it? Right on the nose there. Like I said, I'm not even going to get in touch with Lee and say my figure's got paint rub. He probably offered to send me another head sculpt, but it's no point. It don't bother me that much to do it, because like I say, you look at it from there and you can't even tell. So, but that is one thing to watch out for. And actually, I've got another figure that happened on. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, the lighting did it no justice on release. The prototype is amazing looking. This isn't far behind, and I would be more than happy and more than honest to tell you that the likeness has got a 5 out of a possible 5. So moving on to his outfit. I will say his outfit is a simple build up of a few items, but everything is done really well. The choice of materials again is amazing. The faux leather for the jacket, the cotton shirt, the sort of nylon tracksuit bottoms or sports pants, whatever you want to call them, and then the boots, just comes together really well, looks very accurate and very cool. So let's talk about what his outfit is made up of. As we see, he wears the Hodgman style fishing boots. I think they're called the Hodgman Lake Stream, something like that. Very well captured. The sculpt work and paint work is amazing on. Let's move in. You see the sort of weathering, the design. It is a sculpted lace, but very well done. You can see the metal eyes that the lace goes through as well. Very clean sculpt. Again on both, so very iconic, very sort of correct for Tyler Durden in this scene. Moving up, the sort of shiny material sports pants, again very nice and thin, good scale. The stitching on it is very clean, and then it has the stripe section down the side. Look there, the cheap Adidas 4 stripes that you get off of your local market, about 10 bob a fucking pair, but that's what Tyler wears. As I said before, I do like to have his trousers sort of quite low slung, so he's wearing them on his hips. He's very thin, Brad Pitt in this film, so they sit more on his hips than around his waist, so then they sag down, and I sort of trap it with the top of the boot and then sort of rook up the material on the boot, more so like on that foot. Gives it a very casual look, and I do like it. Moving up as the pelican motif shirt, which is very accurate, looks really nice, with a collar tucked out of the signature red leather jacket. The faux leather on this is outstanding, very much like the Carlito jacket were from Blitzway. Again, the embroidery, the cut and stitch is amazing. It fits in very accurately, and I do like the fact that, like here, how it rooks up, it don't become bulky, it sits like leather would, and I really like that about it. If we look at this arm as well, I think you get the point I'm trying to make. Like that is that if you're wearing a coat, in your own size, then that is how the sleeve would go. It wouldn't all bunch up like sometimes they do on these figures. So for that reason, I think they've done really good work. I actually saw the iMini-Me versions of these figures, or with the Brad Pitt and the Ed Norton. I don't think they were a patch on these. Obviously Blitzway are a bigger company and more mainstream, obviously. So I don't know if they're using better artists or they've sort of learnt from where iMini-Me went wrong. I'm not saying actually the outfit were bad on the iMini-Me, because it weren't. It was pretty good. But I think this is just another slight step again. Like I said on the fur jacket version, I wish they would have given you a choice of vests, and that's the same with this. If you look at some of the stills from the film, he sometimes wears this shirt, but he sometimes wear a crew-necked sort of sea blue coloured t-shirt. I wish they wouldn't given you the option. That way not everybody's figure in the collection looks the same. You can sort of individualise it by using that. So like I said, that is my only nitpick on the outfit. But the outfit from top to bottom is stunning, so for that reason I'm giving it a 5 out of a possible 5. Right, rolling on to articulation, and this is where this figure takes a tiny little nosedive. But as you see, I've took off the shirt and the jacket to simply show you the upper body and tell you my nitpick with it. Most of you will probably know what it is anyway before I say it, but I'm going to do it. Talk about the strong point first. The articulation in the ankles is pretty good. Not so good on this one compared to the other version, simply because of the style of the boot. A little bit higher on this figure, so it's limited on the ankle articulation. As we move up, we get a double bend knee, which works nicely, rotation at the upper thigh, and then the pelvis section is standard for a 1/6 scale figure. Rotation through the waist. We have a split in the ab section, as you see, which is quite clean looking, I will be honest. So you could display this figure without a shirt if you chose to, or certainly with the shirt open, and it doesn't look unsightly. So there is crunch, obviously back arch, so on and so forth. Then as we move up, I wanted to show you the torso. It's a nice sculpted chest. See, he's even got nipples there. Tight looking pecs up into a rubberized neck. Now the problem comes in the arms. The top of the arms works really nicely, moves forward, back, up and down. The problem is in the elbow. It's just a single bend elbow, so that's as tight as it's going to go. Now you think, well, what's the problem with that? It looks quite nice. Yeah, it does. But who do you know who's displayed the Fight Club figure like that without a shirt? The coat is too iconic. You're never going to take it off. So for me, they could have gone with a double bend elbow, because it pisses me off a little bit that certain accessories it brings, namely the cigarettes, the baseball bat, you can't bend his arm enough for him to put his hand to his mouth, to put his lighter up to the cigarette, things like that. There is poses that I would want to get that I can't do simply down to the elbow. And like I say, the body does look nice, but I don't know anybody who's going to display it like that. As you see, I've gone here for the boxing style pose, so he's left hand forward, still pretty upright, and it does look nice. The body looks pretty good, but like I said, just the limited elbow articulation, I don't know, just don't like it. I will say as well, this one, the head pops on and off pretty easily, not annoyingly so, but if you did want to swap the heads without swapping the outfits, it would be pretty easy to do, so I suppose that's a plus point. One other thing, some people said that it's hard to swap out the hands. Now, I've not found that it is hard to swap out the hands, but what I have found is if you try to pull out the hands straight off without wiggling them, trying to do it left-handed, it brings the inner arm chamber with it. Now, that might not be a bad thing either, because then you can take the wrist peg out while it's free from the figure, and then you're not going to risk snapping the wrist peg, although there is a spare set in the bag anyway, so there is that. So to talk about the body in general, it looks pretty good. Just about to take a nosedive on me. It looks pretty good. The elbows I'm not a fan of. I wish I would have sooner had the posability than the aesthetic on this figure, simply because there is poses I want I can't get. Same with something like Bane. When he can't grab onto his braces and that's his key pose, it pissed me off a little bit. This pissed me off a little bit simply because I can't get his hand close enough to his mouth while the cigarette's in his mouth. So, and like I said, the fact it does this and it's probably not supposed to, I'm going to give the articulation, I was going to knock it down to a 4, but I'm actually going to knock it down to a 3 because I don't think there's enough of an explanation about the elbows. So it gets a 3 and a possible 5. Rolling on to extras and accessories. Let me show you first. Got him under the shower, got the bathrobe on, the soap and soap dish obviously is from the fur jacket version. Cigarette in his hand. He's just posed up like so. So I'm just going to talk about the accessories that this figure brings and then give you a score on that. So obviously you would get the figure with that head sculpt and that outfit, those boots. Then you get the shower setup, which comes in 2 halves. So you've got the base up to the taps and then the stem up to the shower head. Really nicely done. I don't think it's metal, although it feels a little bit metallic. Really good paint work on that as well, I will say. He obviously brings the 3 loose cigarettes, so this one has been smoked and has the narrow end so will fit into his mouth. And then he has the one that's unlit, and then another one that is lit but won't fit into his mouth. He has the golf club, the baseball bat, the pack of cigarettes, the Tyler 4 flavours, a pack of Paper Street Soap Company cards, 2 bottles of beer, golf balls, 3 of, although I've not opened them. And then the hands, we have the relaxed left and right, fist left and right, a right for holding the pistol or the revolver, whatever, and you have a left for holding the baseball bat, and then the adjustable stand that Blitzway ship with the eyeglass Fight Club, and the adjustable stems. You can open and close those so they're tucked behind the legs so you don't really see it. You can have the crutch cradle that I use, or if you put that in the top it would be a waist grabbing stand. So quite a nice selection. Again, the bathrobe is the special edition, so you would need to get the full set to get it. I think it is definitely worth getting because the accessories alone on the, also his glasses, but I can't see them at the minute. Wait a minute. Sorry, unprofessional. The Oliver People red lensed glasses, which again are very iconic, very signature Tyler Durden. Yes, so what I was saying is the extras that you get are outstanding anyway and would have probably given him a 4 out of 5. But because I did get both figures, the complete set, it gives me the option to wear the bathrobe, to swap one head for another, because normally I would mark a figure down for not having a second portrait. But in effect this does have a second portrait because you could have either head on either body, either outfit, mix and match the weapons, the hands, so on and so forth. It really makes sense to buy both figures. So because my set does include everything you can possibly get, I am going to give it a 5 out of a possible 5. The only things I can think of missing from the complete set would have been a change of vest and a change of t-shirt. But aside from that, it's pretty fully loaded. So like I said, on the extras and accessories on this figure, I've given it a 5 out of a possible 5. Right, so I'll do the value on them both together. I've got to say, I think Lee Ward sells them at $3.80 for the pair, including the robe, which I think is a really good deal. I can't remember the last Hot Toys figure I bought for less than £200. Sometimes figures I don't really want, but I want to review, so that's why I do it. These, I know I wanted them as soon as I saw the pre-order. I'm glad I picked them up because they are amazing in hand. Some people won't believe it, and until they see them in hand themselves, they'll keep sticking to what they're saying on Sideshow Freaks and Facebook and all the other forums about it's not what they promised and blah blah blah. If you can name 2 figures that are better than them straight from the box, tell me and I'll put an argument up. There is some out there obviously, but they're not as bad as some people are trying to make out. Anyway, I paid for the combined set, so got a really nice price off of Lee. Like I say, he shipped them to me straight away. I said I would advertise them for his store, which I have done. As you see, the Good, the Bad and the Robots captioned below, bottom left. Individually, like I said, because they are under £200 each, I would say the value, I'm going to give them a 4 out of 5 because of, like I say, it's still a lot of money, but I think they're as good as any custom, in fact they're better than any custom versions I've ever seen, including Rain Man, including 9mm, any you want to see. They are an awesome set. Blitzway, again, I'm knocked out park. Very selective with the licenses, and if they're going to do good work, I can understand it. But I just wish they'd be churning figures out a little bit quicker. Probably 4, maybe 5 sets a year, and they would be really an eye contender for the top spot. My thoughts overall. I'll tell you both first. Fucking hell, get me words out. I'll tell you that both figures scored 25 from a possible 30, which is a really high score. So whichever one you decided to pick up, respect to you. If you would have got the full set, because you get the extra, you would have got a point each for both. So you would have got 26 from a possible 30, which again is an awesome score. I recommend you buy both. If you've got one, try and get the other, because you can mix and match your accessories. It gives you a beastly set, one of the best around, in all honesty. So yeah, that's where I stand. Massive thanks to you guys. Please like, comment and subscribe if you've watched both them reviews. Tell me your thoughts on either figure. Please, if you do put a comment, tell me what your thoughts were before the review and what your thoughts are on these figures after the review. Did I change your mind, or do you still not want to get them? Do you still think they look terrible? I know they're not as good as the prototype shots. I'm not going to try and lie to you and tell you they are, but they are both beastly figures in hand. So respect to Blitzway, respect to you guys, but for now, it's the Clipper King, and I'm out of here.